Clear, taking off. Scooting left.
Scooting left, copy. Thank you. Got it. 2 vehicles approaching from the right, you're good. All right, coming across. Squaring up the tower. Looking good, airspace is clear.
Distance looks good. Coming down.
Coming down, copy.
This side's complete.
Number one response has been, oh, that's so cool. You know, a lot of mom and dads have been out here. Oh man, I wish my kid wasn't in school so they could see this. You know, they're happy to see us out here doing inspections of the structures for their safety.
The biggest thing that we're looking for is the insulators, and each of the insulators has cotter pins, so we want to make sure we're able to see those in the shots, and also the structure itself, just looking at every component of the tower to make sure that it's structurally sound. Okay, clear of the tower, coming across. These aren't just your normal consumer grade aircraft. These are aircraft with very good cameras on them. It's a tool to move a camera into any position to get angles of the tower. So you really have to understand how cameras work, because that's the most important part, is the data and the pictures, so the inspectors can actually look at the components. You know, this is just the beginning of what the industry is going to be and what utilities are going to be using drones for. As technology improves, drones are going to be a larger part of maintaining the electrical grid.
It's the most recognized military helicopter in the world. Now the Black Hawk has been transformed into the Cal Firehawk to attack one of the biggest enemies on the West Coast, wildfires. Dan Anderson used to fly it in combat. He's now a pilot for Cal Fire.
This thing was made to go to war. It's pretty much flying the same thing, just with different paint job and a different uniform.
And different weapons.
Yes.
Gone are the guns, replaced by a tank that holds 1,000 gallons of water.
It's our retractable snorkel right here. This goes down 12 feet below the aircraft.
It can refill in less than a minute. Brent Starr is also a Cal Fire pilot.
We get the digital information of exactly how much water in gallons or pounds that we have on the aircraft.
With 2 engines, it flies at speeds more than 150 miles an hour, faster and higher than Cal Fire's aging fleet of Hueys built in the 1960s. With a state-of-the-art cockpit, this fancy flying machine can literally fly itself.
Couple up to my autopilot with altitude, airspeed, and I can actually put in a couple waypoints and it'll fly me all the way back to my helipad base.
The new Firehawk can haul 12 firefighters, and with a built-in hoist, it's always ready for rescues.
We've had heat exposures, we've had firefighters step in a hole, and those holes actually are burning underneath them. So now we can immediately go into our rescue operation.
But this type of security and technology isn't cheap.
They're right around $24 million each.
Cal Fire's senior chief of aviation says they've ordered 12.
We have the largest aerial firefighting fleet in the world. Our intent here in California is to have an aircraft on any fire in California within 20 minutes.
With the wildfire safety program, we're doing things that at this scale and at this density have never been done before. In terms of a real-time decision support making tool, this is just going to take everything to the next level.
So we're at the Santa Cruz Mountains at one of the mountaintops, Mount Chul, and we're here installing a camera for wildfire mitigation. We can see all the way into the bay. We can see the Monterey Bay. We can see over the hills. We can see all these mountain ranges. There's no blockage of the camera at the very top. It's perfect. We'll be able to see anything. Wes, that's the tallest one we have. We can't see with the naked eye, but somewhere out there might be like a transmission line. This could zoom in on that line and kind of do a high level, not inspection, but at least know if the wires are down or up, which is impressive.
It's giving us a granular view in spaces where we normally don't have any data. We usually don't have any eyes.
Having 600 cameras installed across the territory are going to help our Wildfire Operations Center make better use of resources to tackle fires, especially in remote locations.
Anthony, vegetation fire near Calaveras County line. What we're doing here in the Wildfire Safety Operations Center is basically being the liaison for information between people in the field regarding fires and how it impacts our lines and our assets in general. So from a high level, I could see that's a high fire threat district, extreme. So that really gives us concern if there is a fire in that area. We use a number of different tools to really pinpoint what's going on. We have everything from satellite to flight radar, cameras out in the field, and information coming in straight from meteorology to really forecast what can happen out there.
On the meteorology side, on the WSOC side, on the emergency response side, it's bringing all of those ingredients together to make the whole. And that kind of experience combined with this kind of technology is what's going to make a huge difference.
That's St. Helena right there. I've got 2 weather stations up on that mountain, 1 on each side of the mountain. Get everything set up, and then we'll go and start putting stuff on the tower.
So this is actually the temperature sensor, and this is just the housing that it goes into.
The goal is to have around 1,300 weather stations over the next 3 years. They provide the data to the meteorology group, and that data is heavily scrutinized to make informed decisions. This site was selected because it's on top of a mountain. It has a good wind fetch coming over the hill, and this is an area that's in one of the fire index zones, so it makes it for a perfect site.
If we can put a weather station and a camera to help better forecast conditions and keep you safe in the most extreme conditions, then I want to let you know about it.
All the cameras we install, all the weather stations, they'll be around for years after we're done with this project. When I retire in decades from now, I'll definitely remember this as one of the cornerstones of my career.
Just like so many in PG&E who are dealing with anything related to wildfire safety, I think all of us have this same passion about this mission and care about our communities.
You know, I'm excited for the future. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I know I'm going to be here to help out and be part of that team.
It's the newest addition to California's firefighting fleet. The global supertanker is a former Japan Airlines 747 that's been converted into a retardant-dropping air tanker and is currently based at McClellan Field in Sacramento. CAL FIRE has put the supertanker on call for this fire season and used it for the first time on the Ponderosa fire burning in Butte County. The supertanker can drop 19,000 gallons at a time, leaving a retardant line up to 3 miles long, much more than the S-2 planes that CAL FIRE typically flies. At $16,000 an hour to operate.
We're going to hit a long limb that's sticking out towards the line.
There's not much comparable to the Helisaw.
Roger, and then you'll have another one heading eastbound directly at my location.
When the Helisaw comes through, we're looking for 15 to 20 foot clearance of any branch that could impact the line. We can do in a day what a conventional crew would do in about a month or more. It's a huge benefit. An aircraft on your property with a big dangling piece of machinery is kind of scary right off the bat. However, this is by far the safest and complete treatment that you can have to fully clear a right-of-way.
This is actually groundbreaking, not only for CAL FIRE, but really most importantly for the citizens in California.
It's so leading edge because, as CAL FIRE Deputy Director Mike Moeller explains, CAL FIRE is now the only fire department aviation fleet in the world with its own group of large air tankers.
It's going to be seen worldwide of what we're doing here will possibly be modeled throughout the world.
And to put things in perspective, the S2Ts currently in use can carry up to 1,200 gallons of fire retardant. The 7 new C-130s can each carry 4,000 gallons.
Retardant is dropped in front of the fire burns up to the retardant and it slows it down.
MVF-5. Firefighters constantly have to put their lives at risk, but some situations are more complex and threatening than others. When working in hazardous areas or when there's too much risk of collapse, it's better to send special machines to perform different tasks. Fortunately, modern fire extinguishing equipment is becoming more advanced every year. MVF-5 is a multi-purpose firefighting vehicle developed by the Croatian company Doc Ing. Its main feature is that it can be controlled remotely. LUF 60. You are looking at a tracked, unmanned firefighting robot developed by specialists from Austria. It stands out among other models for its agility and compact, if not tiny, dimensions. Nevertheless, the LUF-60 is a powerful piece of equipment that can provide firefighters with considerable support. Jun. The fast development of robotics and technology allows firefighters to use all kinds of new vehicles during work. Jun by Chinese company Walkera is an air drone designed specifically for firefighters, taking into account all the requirements for extinguishing equipment. Jun drops special fire shells, able to cover an area of up to 9 cubic meters with a range of 40 meters. Jun has a folding structure, it's small and easy to transport too. Its battery provides 35 minutes of operation.
How do you get to the point of doing more with less or more with the same? The answer, of course, is technology.
In recent years, California has become ground zero in the race to develop new technology to prevent and fight fires.
The tools and the resources that we have in firefighting, they are all circa 1900s, 1950s. You know, if you're a firefighter and you give me a piece of technology or you give me an axe, one of them takes batteries, one doesn't. One may work 99% of the time, the other works 100% of the time. So it's a hard sell in that regard.
Mike Ralston believes cutting-edge tech deserves a place in the toolkit alongside axes and shovels.
So this vehicle that we're looking at here, I helped design over the course of about a year. Is called the M-Star, for Mobile Special Technology and Aerial Response. If you take a look at how this vehicle is set up, it's really broken out into quadrants. This front quadrant over here is set up for remote operations, whether it's a drone or a robot. Some jurisdictions use, land-based robots. The second quadrant is this area that we're standing in right here, the command interface area. We would have a command vehicle set up. Let's say they're working at their console here, and they can turn around and they could say, Mike, I need XYZ. Can you get me this? Can you connect me to this? Can you get me this information, right? So this quadrant is to maintain the drone and so forth. Typically, we will carry 1, 2, 3, 4 primary drones. You want to get on scene and get a drone in the air quickly. And I can attach into the vehicle's video system with my drone controller here, and I can fly from right there. By putting a thermal imaging camera on there, if you've got a building, if there's smoke billowing out of it, and you first pull up on it, you don't know how big the building is, where it's coming from, you just see a lot of smoke. Being able to circle the whole building with a drone gives you good situational awareness. Using a thermal imaging camera, you can actually see, the fire's in the back corner. That's where you need to go. Or look, it looks like the roof is burned through here. Don't walk on that area.
Drones can be a game-changing new tool, but Mike's also prepared for when drones become a threat.
People have their hobbyist drones, and they'll fly these things, and if they fly into an airspace where it's a controlled airspace, where there's air tankers dropping water and helicopters and that sort of thing, and if that drone flies into a helicopter, it could kill the helicopter pilot. It could bring down a helicopter. If they see a drone in there, they've got to bring down all their flights because they don't know what that drone's going to do. So this thing's called Aeroscope, which is made by one of the manufacturers who makes the drones. But this has the ability to, with its antennas, track the drone activity itself. So if there's a drone in the air, I'll see it here on my screen, and it'll show me where the operator of that drone is. So I can use this with my brothers and sisters in law enforcement and say, there's an illegal drone operation going on. They're right here at these coordinates, and they can go and they can shut that down. We're out there to put the fire out, but we can't put the fire out if we can't fly.
The public safety is the #1 concern, and that's what we're here for. Based on the pictures we have, we start from the bottom of the structure and walk our way up, right?
We got our fiberglass insulators, our down guys. We check into all the details, nuts, bolts, vibration dampeners, the clamps. The drone gives us a bird eye view, so we want to make sure that there's no potential problem.
As we navigate through the inspection sheet, we let the structure drive the amount of pictures that we have and make sure that we have the right clarity to be able to check every piece, every component, every hardware, every connection. Then you get to identify the problem a little bit more.
The information that we can get from the drone footage has proven to be very invaluable. We're able to see bolts that are 70 feet in the air, and we're able to see whether or not they're tight, whether they've corroded, whether they're bonded, and these are extremely valuable details for us to do our job of inspecting.
For example, if the clamp here is broke, is loose, it'll be hard to see, even based on the angle of the insulator here. You cannot see that from the ground. You have to see that from the top.
You get to take a picture today, and when you go there next year, you know what the structure looked like a year ago, so you could look at degradation a little bit in more detail.
The fact that we have fleets of drones being able to go out there and inspect, it's definitely allowing us to take safety to a new level for PG&E.
A wildfire is born, and teams of people leap into action, sounding the alarm for nearby residents, providing local fire observations, and getting ready to battle the flames from ground and sky. These frontline responders do the heavy lifting when it comes to fighting and managing fires, but they're often helped by the view from higher up. From late spring to early fall, 2 U.S. Forest Service planes flying at 10,000 feet crisscross the western United States chasing fires, sometimes mapping dozens of fires in one night. They help identify a fire's perimeter and any outlying fires or hotspots, and provide information to the fire management teams on the ground. Meanwhile, further above, NASA and NOAA satellites provide a powerful global view of active fires across the entire planet. Satellites can fill in the gaps between ground and airborne observations, identifying fires soon after they start, and detecting fires that nothing else can, like in remote stretches of wilderness, or estimating a fire's perimeter when planes aren't available. These fire observations from air and space can help responders decide where to send firefighters and other resources.
3, 2, 1. Main engine start and liftoff of the Atlas rocket with Terra.
And since NASA designed and launched the first satellite instruments to specifically measure fires 20 years ago, satellite fire data has also been used in many other ways, including detecting smoke plumes, forecasting and measuring air quality downwind from a fire, measuring burned area after fires are extinguished, and looking at trends in global fire frequency and severity. NASA and NOAA scientists are working to leverage that satellite data with new airborne field campaigns featuring new technologies for measuring wildfires, so that we can all make better decisions about how to respond when fire strikes.
Farms US Canada provides the USDA Forest Service, partner agencies, and the general public access to tools and data to visualize and monitor the location, extent, intensity, and impacts of wildfire activity in the United States and Canada. The source of low-latency satellite imagery, science data products, and enabling technologies to Farms USA Canada include the NASA Land, Atmosphere Near Real-Time Capability for EOS, or LANCE, and other partners. Data from the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer MODIS and Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite VIIRS are the foundational satellite data sources for the current firm's US-Canada application. Additional geospatial data and information from various agencies are also integrated to provide context for current, recent wildfire activity. Sources for these additional data include the National Interagency Fire Center, Department of Interior Office of Wildland Fire, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Weather Service, Canadian Interagency Fire Center, and Natural Resources of Canada.
It was Australia's worst fire season on record. 27 million acres burned. Fires killed 24 people, destroyed 2,500 homes. An estimated 1 billion animals died, including 8,000 iconic lovable koalas.
We all hear about these fires burning out of control in California and Australia and other parts of the world, and they seem like they're always burning out of control.
To get them under control faster, enter DataRobot, a Boston-based leader in artificial intelligence. By using AI, they can help spot a fire earlier, which lets crews get it under control faster, all by tapping into these sensors.
There's a sniffer that sniffs to detect particles in the air characteristic or representative of a fire.
These sniffers are in Chile, where more than 1,000 wildfires raged last year. South America's largest telco, Enel, deployed 300 sensors, spread out over 2,100 acres. These digital noses gather all kinds of data. Then DataRobot crunches the numbers.
We ingest that data, try to look for the patterns, and then build the models based on the patterns.
All in Boston for a fire in South America, and doing it all in less than 1 second.
It looks at the historical data, tries to identify patterns, and then apply those patterns to future situations.
Their programs can spot a fire 12 minutes faster than humans alone. 12 minutes in a wildfire can be huge.
In 12 minutes, a fire could spread 2 or 3 miles. So that 12-minute advanced detection allows you to put those resources to fight the fire much more quickly and put it out before it spreads.
Because this project has been so successful, we would like to replicate it in the other parts of the world.
With land parched from drought and temperatures on the rise, wildfires have become larger and deadlier. In 2018, California saw the largest and deadliest wildfires in its history. The notorious Camp Fire spread at a rate of 80 football fields per minute. That means detecting wildfires as early as possible and responding quickly have become essential to thwarting a potentially deadly disaster. And one startup says it's found a way to spot fires just minutes after they spark.
From the image being captured in space to us producing an alert, it's about 9 minutes start to finish.
Based in Santa Fe, New Mexico, Descartes Labs uses cloud-based artificial intelligence to analyze huge swaths of real-time satellite imagery and identify fires.
And we decided to focus on satellite imagery just because there's so much of it. And this means there's lots and lots of data about the planet.
Today, fire authorities most often rely on human spotters to report a blaze. But Descartes' AI platform scans thermal imagery from NOAA satellites to look for what the company calls heat anomalies.
And this turns out to be a pretty challenging problem because the temperature of the Earth is always changing. And we basically seek out these hotspots by modeling what the Earth would look like if there wasn't a fire there, and then comparing that to the image that we get from the GOES 16 and 17 satellites. And if we notice a big discrepancy, then that's a pretty good indicator that there's a fire there.
The company says it's already pinpointed exact locations for 4,700 fires, and is currently testing a wildfire alert system with the local forestry division in New Mexico. But Descartes sees a future where it could help fire authorities in other states too.
I think the Kincaid fire is a good example of how this technology could change how we respond to fires.
In October 2019, the Kincaid fire started in Sonoma County, California, and went on to scorch more than 77,000 acres of land. The company says it generated an alert before most people even knew the fire existed.
We detected it about 10 minutes after it started, but it was a lot more challenging for people because this fire started at around 9:30 at night, and it wouldn't be until half an hour after we had already broadcast our alert that CAL FIRE would have a plane over the fire, and another few hours until they actually reported it publicly.
To the team, it's evidence of the system's advantage over human spotters. Of course, to really make an impact, the technology will need to integrate with firefighting authorities that can respond to the fires on the ground.
It's all about making sure that less fires slip through the cracks and go on to become these massive mega fires.
The company's ambitions don't stop there. It's currently using the same technology to find methane leaks in oil fields and scan crops in Africa to identify potential food shortages. Other companies are working on similar technology as well.
There's lots of different ways you can apply this AI technology at scale and try to monitor the Earth and try to stop problems before they become much, much bigger.
Audrey today runs on some of the most powerful computers in the world. But as computers develop and Audrey becomes more optimized, this is going to move down closer and closer to the edge of where people interact with technology. First of all, it's going to be perhaps on the fire engines themselves and the vehicles. Then it'll be on the first responders' equipment, and then perhaps for people at home, it's in their house and all around them. When first responders are attending an emergency, Audrey can be an extra set of eyes and ears with a perfect memory and the ability to see through smoke or fire, derive temperature from heat haze, and other capabilities that computers can just do better than us. Audrey can augment a first responder's spatial awareness, decision-making abilities, and make them more effective and safer in the field.